Artus-Excalibur, the musical. Act 2. Soon after Arthur's coronation, he and Guinevere are married, to the joy of the entire country. Lancelot watches sadly from afar, depressed that he can never have Guinevere. Suddenly, an assassin sent by Morgana and Loth appears and lunges at Arthur. Hector saves Arthur but is mortally wounded in the process. Arthur desperately tries to save his adoptive father, but Hector succumbs to his wounds and dies in Arthur's arms. Filled with rage, Arthur swears revenge on Loth and declares war on Castle Orkney. Guinevere tries to be nurturing, but Arthur brushes her aside. Merlin warns Arthur that Excalibur was forged to unite, not destroy, but the young king ignores the wizard's warning. Meanwhile, Morgana and Loth assemble their armies, assured of their victory. Following an argument, Loth locks Morgana in her room. Left alone, Morgana reflects on her unhappy childhood and lonely existence. Due to the preparations for war, Arthur grows more and more distant from Guinevere. She and Lancelot try to calm Arthur, but he blindly rejects their advice. Guinevere is left to mourn the loss of the love between her and Arthur. Lancelot comforts Guinevere and the two become closer. Meanwhile, Morgana visits Merlin in his hidden place. She offers Merlin a deal: she will withdraw Loth's troops if he shares his complete knowledge of magic with her. Merlin refuses, causing Morgana to slowly seduce him. Lancelot, overcome with love for Guinevere, flees into a forest. Guinevere finds Lancelot and, overcome with sadness and affection, falls into his arms. Merlin watches from afar and expresses concern for Arthur. That night, Morgana sneaks into Arthur's bedchamber and shows Arthur a vision of Lancelot and Guinevere making love in the forest. In despair, Arthur banishes the two lovers from Camelot, while Morgana observes triumphantly. Filled with temptation, Merlin finally succumbs to Morgana and, in his moment of weakness, is robbed of his magic powers, as a wizard must never indulge in mortal desires lest he lose his powers. This increases Morgana's own powers indefinitely. A frail and mortal Merlin visits Arthur one last time. Arthur feels abandoned, but Merlin reassures Arthur that while he can no longer help him, he knows Arthur can triumph over tyranny. Merlin vanishes forever and Arthur gathers his army and courage in preparation for the final battle. The battle between the armies of Loth and Arthur ensues. Loth and Gareth both die in the fight, leaving Arthur victorious but Camelot a ruin once more. Arthur is suddenly brought before a wounded Lancelot, revealing the young knight had sneaked into the battle to aid Arthur. Lancelot ensures Arthur that Guinevere never truly betrayed him, as only by despair had she sought refuge with him. Lancelot then dies in Arthur's arms. Arthur mourns the loss of his friend and buries him with full honors. As Arthur kneels at Lancelot's grave, Morgana suddenly appears behind him. Morgana steals Excalibur from Arthur and prepares to kill him. Suddenly, a crossbow is fired at Morgana's back, allowing Arthur to snatch Excalibur back and impale Morgana on it, killing her. Guinevere reveals herself as Morgana's shooter, explaining that Merlin had found her and told her Arthur needed her help. The two accept that they still love each other, and Arthur forgives Guinevere. Accompanied by the spirits of their fallen friends, Arthur and Guinevere leave together, with the hope that Camelot will one day rise again.